This video is to support students for Sports Facilities Assignment 2. The key sections for this assignment already completed should be Section 1 Strategy, Section 2 Marketing. The final sections to be completed by the 22nd of April are Section 3 Operations, Section 4 Staffing, Section 5 Programming. This video is specifically focused on Section 3 Operations. This section should focus on the sports hall and any ancillary facilities that are required to help the sports hall operate effectively. So that may include reception, changing rooms, storage areas, consideration of food and beverage for customers. Essentially, this section, what I would like you to consider is using the Quest frameworks and any other supporting evidence, both from academia and industry best practice. What we may need to do here is to make an assessment of what we have and what we do, and hopefully consider that from the LC's context, we're making an assessment of whether the facility actually meets the market requirements, so what customers want and potentially need. So those minimum standards, health and safety, the hygiene factors in terms of customer expectations. So from an operational perspective, we need to drill deeper than the program. We're not focusing on the program at this stage, but all the elements that allow us to effectively open the building and run it within health and safety regulations and any other legal frameworks that you may need to consider. So essentially, what I'd like you to consider is whether the facility effectively manages its operations and what their capabilities are. Unless we understand the operational capabilities and processes of a facility, then we can't effectively progress on to developing any programs, i.e. if the storage facilities or the changing facilities are limited, then that might constrict or confine what programs or what activities we end up putting on in any given space, including sports hall. I've given examples in the past where storage facilities and or access to a sports hall space may not be large enough to house trampoline in, even though the market may be asking for trampoline in. So understanding these operational limitations or capabilities will allow us to then progress on to Section 5 later and understand how and what we can program effectively. So within facility operations manuals, traditionally we see organizational structures, management processes, general operational procedures, facility operational audits, event management processes, risk management and health and safety processes. More often than not, these will think about government guidelines, and Quest frameworks are there to support that. I'm not asking you to detail all of these. For the LC, we haven't got access to some of this information, but I would like you to consider the Quest best practice, what they consider high-performing facilities should have in place. I'd like you to think about the LC's setup in terms of the facilities itself, the ancillary facilities that support storage, changing rooms, etc., and then consider what we would expect to see in place from an operational point of view. So there's two elements to this mini section. One, what do the LC have and what are the operational considerations in terms of the facilities, and then in terms of processes and procedures, what we would expect to see as a minimum standard that they have in place. An operational management framework is fairly broad. Really, I'm asking you to concentrate not necessarily on program management or service improvement financial management or performance management. We've already covered research and marketing and communications. I'm more interested here in operational issues and health and safety. Staff management will cover in the staff section. So again, using Quest, the documents outlined for you, there are a couple there, housekeeping and maintenance and so on. I'd like you to focus on S+31, the operational delivery document. And again, as with all the other Quest documents, there are key questions that Quest would ask of any facility under this operational delivery banner. And we take this first one. If we were to look at the facility, the key questions would be, how does the facility plan to deliver their operation and support their goals? So we would expect to see policies and procedures identified, that we would expect to see responsibilities for planning and coordinating, delivering, processes and working instructions. So these are the sorts of elements I'd like you to consider. So again, this mini section is about initially detailing the operational environment, so what facilities. I'm happy that you use diagrams. There are technical documents in the Moodle folders for you on SportsSource. You can copy and paste a standardized 8-court hall, supplement that with any images that you may have of the site. That can be put in a mini appendix at the end of this section that you can refer to. So that initial few hundred words, maybe 150 words, plus diagrams and images to support, just to contextualize and outline the operational environment we're working in. 8-court hall, change of facilities, storage capacities, so on. The bulk of this section, I do want you to outline what you would expect based on industry best practice then to see as operational procedures and processes, with examples and referencing to Quest and any other technical documents that you can access. Some key considerations for you to think about in terms of the operational environment for our sports hall. Think about the pre-entry, so main entrance, reception area, maybe the social and viewing and spectator areas. The pre-entry will also include changing, capacity, so how big are the changing rooms? Are they dry and wet side, dry side only? What about the lockers? Are they appropriate? Post activity, you've also then got showers to consider as part of the changing room. During activity, the flexibility of the program, things like equipment and mat storage, additional special events, and first aid, physiotherapy, these will all have an enabling or a constricting effect on your program development or your event program. Staff facilities and secondary areas would be important. I'm not so concerned about the fitness equipment room unless we're using the sports hall for other fitness activities like circuit training, and you envisage that as something that should be part of your assessment. Ancillary halls are on here as key considerations because if you're running major events, ancillary halls could be warm-up areas or a supportive area for your event. Think about the hall itself, the line markings, the capability, the ancillary support facilities like cricket nets or curtain dividers, spectator areas, bleacher systems and so on, lighting, and whether there are access points for electrical equipment such as PA systems, etc. So those are the key considerations in outlining the operational environment. Make sure that you, again, put diagrams and pictures in a mini appendix for this section and refer to those images in your text. In terms of the processes and procedures, outline the key ones that you feel are vital, providing some evidence, best practice. If you want to put some of those examples in a mini appendix, they won't count towards the word count, but you can refer to them in this document. This mini section isn't about critiquing what the LC have, but using the Quest frameworks and best practice to outline what you feel that they should have as minimum requirements for this operational environment.